because really, for the most part, our team was here for the other 9 weeks. So, guys did a great job. It's been a really productive offseason.
What was maybe when you started minicamp, or when you started the spring, you got to this point, what was maybe the biggest thing you wanted to kind of know about your team or understand about your team before they kind of go for summer here? Did you feel like you got that answer at this stage?
I mean, do you like football? They like practicing. They like football. It makes it fun. I didn't have to play that last song. I really didn't. Just gave me 3 more minutes with them. It's been a cool 10 weeks.
So was there a point of playing music throughout the whole practice today that was a little different, it seemed?
We've been playing music, maybe just a little louder today. The breaks, I turn it up. So we did that for rookie minicamp and the voluntary minicamp. We had breaks on the last day. So we just played it. That was just louder. We've added it in practice. You guys happen to be right by the speakers, so it just felt like it was louder.
Yesterday, Fana was with the second team, and I thought that was a change that had already been made. So what was the point of him being primarily second team yesterday?
Well, trying to get DeJuan some work with the 1s and the 2s. We want to see where he's at and move Fano around as much as we could with the 1s and 2s. It was planned over the 3 days that they were both going to work with the 1s and the 2s.
Todd, just to put a bow on this, since we didn't get to talk to you yesterday, now minicamp is officially over. Last time we talked to you, you said chances are you will not have your quarterback.
Yeah, I don't see that.
So you're just going to go into the summer break, status quo, and come back.
We'll start off fall camp just like we've been doing. We'll alternate those guys.
Will you have a 1, 2, 3 by having the pads on, which puts you into the second week of training camp?
That'd be great. I don't know if I will, but I'd love to. I'd love to have it now. We just don't.
Hey, speaking of DeJuan, how have you seen him throughout the rehab process?
If a guy's been injured and out, it's easy to put on weight, right? It just is. You're not as active. He's been great. He looks really good running around. Obviously, his grasp what we're trying to do. So it's been fun having him out there working.
Todd, what has stood out to you about Shador's body of work? I know we talked about the progress that he's made, but as you put a cap on the offseason workout program, can you kind of encapsulate the growth that you see from him?
Well, I just think he's doing a better job. I think he's being more decisive. Now, it's easy to say we're not in pads. It just feels like he's making quicker decisions. The ball's coming out of his hands, which he's going to have to do. Not that he doesn't have playmaking ability, because he does. But his ability to process quicker and get the ball out of his hands and eliminate lost yardage plays is going to be huge for us to be able to stack plays and score, which is ultimately the number one thing to do.
But is that the point of waiting for pads to determine your 1, 2, 3?
100%. It's hard to really say. It's hard to say, and, whether it would have been a legit pressure, it wouldn't have been. Would he have had all that time? I don't know. There's still a lot to see. Quarterbacks and the O-line, especially once we put the pads on. And
it was a small lap, but why did the O-line one take a little lap there at some point?
What's that?
It looked like he had the first team O-line do a little lap around the practice field.
They did?
Maybe that was Warhawk.
Well, they might have. The guy's George. He's standing right back there.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, I didn't know he took a lap.
A small lap, but they did.
Todd,
Must have done something.
Is there any negative, since you wanted your quarterback by now, is there any negative that heading into training camp, at least at the beginning, you don't have that?
Well, I don't see it that way. It would be if I didn't think either one of them were capable of starting. It would feel different if I didn't feel like their progression hadn't gotten to this point where I think they both can start and play winning football. I'm convinced of it, and I'd say it if I didn't. I can't decide now because I think both have earned the opportunity to continue to compete once we put the pads on.
Todd, Sean was saying yesterday, he was talking about the difference in system, and he said there's a lot more responsibility on the quarterback in this, kind of paraphrasing a little bit, but the responsibility placed on the quarterback play, what they're asked to do is different. You would think that would be the case in any system, but Can you maybe dissect maybe a little bit of what he's talking about in terms of what you ask your quarterbacks to do that might be a little
I don't know that. I mean, what you ask your quarterback to do is a byproduct of what they're capable of doing and how much ownership they want in QB control. Right? Some guys want that and some guys don't. Some guys don't want that smoke. Because when they take that control or they change a play or they change a protection, it falls on them. Right? Now they're the ones that have to explain why they did what they did. Not everybody wants that. Our guys want that, which is cool. Because again, not everybody wants that. Not everybody wants to be that diligent and work at it to where when the moment comes up, they're capable at the line of scrimmage of getting this into a premium play. And all of our guys are capable of that, which makes it fun.
You mentioned some of the things that you would like to see from Shedeur moving forward. How about Deshaun? Are there things that you would still like to see from him as you move through camp?
Sure. No. I think, again, you'd have to ask Deshaun this. I think he's excited to play again and to play at a high level. You know, he puts a lot of pressure on himself. So when he's not right or he makes a mistake, he's great at owning it, but it's okay. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. You're not going to play flawless football. It's okay. Just go to the next play. Go to the next play. And I think the things you don't see out here, you do a little bit, is I think plays with his feet. So that's going to be a huge weapon for him. It has been in his career, and as long as he's healthy, it will continue to be a weapon for him.
Todd, not so much today, but the practices I've seen, you're very hands-on with receivers. Does that go back to that's the way you broke into the NFL coaching ranks?
100%.
Or was it because of your system that a lot more responsibility?
That's where my eyes go. Even though I played quarterback and I've been with both, I think at times it can be an undercoached position. And so I want to make sure it's right. I have a lot of faith in CJ. That has nothing to do with CJ and Waz. That's where my eyes go. And I also have a lot of faith in Mike Bajakian and Matt Baker with the quarterbacks. So it's just making sure that the receivers understand how important it is in terms of route running detail and spacing when we get zone. And if you want to be good at throwing the football, you got to be able to protect, and you got to have guys that, obviously we have to have weapons on the perimeter, which we've addressed both of those here in the offseason.
When you're making your quarterback decision, how much do you weigh face of the franchise, being able to stand up? Does that come into play?
I really don't care. I don't care. Whoever gives us the best chance to score. And I won't know that till we play. We don't know this now in shorts. And we may not know it till we play in the preseason games. And even then, there's no guarantee of who you're playing against. The matchups are not always equal. You can decide you're playing their ones and they're not. So ultimately, we take all the information in the offseason and then training camp and then the preseason game and practice and then let it rip.
Todd, you mentioned feeling like you had 4 of the 5 starting O-line spots sort of settled. You saw some different iterations of what that could look like this week. How much clarity do you think you sort of have going into the break here on what that 5th one's going to look like and what that starting group's going to look like?
We have some. You're banking on the free agents you signed to still play at that high level that they played at. You're counting on Spencer to play at a high level of why we drafted him that early. But you still haven't put the pads on yet. I couldn't really tell you how it's going to shake out other than you only know what you've seen in the past, and then they got to prove it. Ultimately, you are what you put on tape. So when we get in the fall, we'll see it with the O-line. You are what you put on tape.
Tom, we asked you so much about the offense, but what do you make about what the job Rudy's done with the defense and what you're looking forward to seeing carry over in the training camp?
It's been fun to watch. First of all, I think he's having a blast. Now it won't be so much fun in the fall. It's a lot harder when you're calling a defense and you're up against teams and you got to make plays. But his energy pops. I think the guys feed off that. Again, I think he's done a great job. And collectively with the staff that was here, not only taking what they've done in the past, but implementing some new thoughts coverage-wise that he wanted to put in.
So Judy didn't do anything in team today. Jerry Judy. You're coaching day off?
No. His hamstring, I usually don't comment about injuries, but you drug me into this, Tony. His hamstring grabbed him a little bit, and he didn't want to go into the off-season with a hamstring
We
issue.
won't see veteran days off during camp?
No. They don't get veteran days off. We might monitor the reps, but they're going to be dressed. That's what you do as a team. Everybody's dressed. Again, we might monitor the reps. Or medically, I don't do that medical. There are no vet days off.
Good?
Yep.
All right, thanks.
Fuck, now I back myself in a corner.
Thanks, Todd. Jog there at one point around the field. Was that for any particular reason?
That wasn't on me. I looked up and I saw him running, so I'm glad that they took the initiative to do that themselves, but that wasn't mandatory.
No. Wasn't like a false start or something like that?
That starts in training camp, not here.
I know we saw so much mixing and matching this week along the line and with the ones and twos, and Todd talked about the reasons for that, but you guys still have a long way to go into training camp until these positions are decided. Just how do you think these guys did switching in and out this week, and where do things stand from your eyes?
I think they did a great job. I mean, it's hard when you're putting in a new system, and we didn't move them around for the first couple of weeks until they had a pretty good foundation. And once they got the foundation, we start moving them around. I think it gets difficult when it's new. I think a year from now, we're always going to roll the guys around, though, just in general, right? Unless you're an established starter, you have to be able to play multiple positions. So we need to find guys who aren't starters who can be backups and can play multiple spots. But as I was saying, next year it'll be easy for those guys, or easier. But in terms of why we do that, we need to find our best 9 or 10 guys, is what it boils down to.
Now that you've gotten your hands on Spencer Fano, what have you learned about him in these few weeks?
Haven't learned enough. Spencer's number one. He's a great kid, unbelievable human being. Wants to be the best version of himself all the time, and that's a blessing and a curse for him because he'll get down on himself a little bit at times on that. So that's something we're working through with him. That listen, it's going to come. It's new. You're playing on the left side, which is new, and you're playing in NFL, which is going to be another level up. Like the last week, he's been outstanding. Really competing, really buying into what we're doing, really raising his game. So I love the kid. I think he's going to be a really good player for us.
On Tuesday, the first day, first day with the team, it seemed like he had a good day. I know they're not hitting. Is that fair to say? Or?
Reverse? No, I think my opinion on right now, it's hard to judge any of us in the lines when we're out here with no pads on. I think they work well together. I think they did a marvelous job this spring. All of them. I'm including Verse, everybody. And he's already a good player in his own right. I mean, we had to play him last year at the Rams. He's a freaking handful, right? But to judge all that here, I really don't go about that.
That just leads me to the training camp battles between him and Fano. How will that benefit Fano?
Anytime you get a chance to go against a really good player, it advances your game. It makes you a better player. So every snap he gets against them, every snap any of our guys gets against them, it's going to be a benefit for us. And then his game is such a physical game. It's unlike a lot of defensive ends in the NFL. It's such a physical game. It will really help us moving forward, dealing with other teams, Baltimore, Cincinnati, who also have bigger physical defensive ends. It's really going to be helpful to us as an offensive line.
George, with the young kids, do you like sort of where they are on the expected development curve? I know the pads aren't on. It's probably still kind of drinking out of a fire hose, but you like where they've sort of progressed.
Yeah, so what you want the young guys to be able to do when they come back from training camp is have an understanding of our offense, number one. Number two, understanding how we're going to drill them in our techniques. I think all those young guys, all four of our young guys, have a really good understanding of that. Now that's the foundation for when we get to camp and we put the pads on for them now to raise their game, right, and to get better, and we can see the best versions of them. So they're not learning that stuff in training camp. They understand it coming back to training camp.
So is this part, kind of following up then, would you kind of almost view this as this is the mental part, this is the mental part of the teaching, and then the physical, that training camps where the physical part really starts to take hold?
Yeah, we always talk physical play, right? So even though we really can't be physical now just because of the nature of the offseason, everything we do is about playing physical. So forward, straining, all that's always a part of it. We just really can't do it until training camp. And I view this time as a foundational time for our guys. Right? A foundational time for them from an offensive standpoint, a foundational time for them from a technical standpoint. So that's what's really important about this. For the young guys, and even now, since we're new here, for everybody, is getting the foundation down as to what we're going to expect from them.
George, I've read reports, and I don't know how accurate they are, but that Zion Johnson struggled in pass protection when he was with the Chargers.
Okay.
So I'm asking you, did you see anything like that on film that you watched him in? And how would you assess, I know you don't have pass, but how would you assess him?
I did not see him struggling much in pass pro when I watched him. All right. I think Zion's a tremendous athlete. I think he's super smart, very intentional. I would be surprised if he's going to have a problem in pass pro. So I'm really excited that he's a part of our team.
With a guy like Parker,
right.
That jump from college to the pros as a center, what are the challenges that he faces kind of making that jump, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, he played in pros when he was in Washington. It was somewhat of a pro-style offense. He's at Alabama, somewhat of a pro-style offense. I think he's done a tremendous job. He has zero issues seeing and doing what we're asking him to do. I mean, seeing the defense, IDing the defense, making the calls, all that stuff, he's been tremendous. Let me just even say that. It's even beyond what he had in college. This is how his brain is. He's got a great football brain, right? I'm not going to say it's easy for him, but it hasn't been difficult for him. And he's a guy that does his due diligence at night. He studies, he comes in prepared, he brings in questions. If he doesn't have an understanding, he's going to get it from either myself, Bobby, or Sanders, right? The three of us that work with him. But he's going to get the information.
What about DeJuan Jones? I mean, I know we've obviously seen him here. He's struggled with injuries his first handful of years, but he comes in, he looks lighter than we've ever seen him in his time here. And how has he just handled everything? And do you imagine him being like sort of that swing tackle guy that can play on either side, given his experience?
I'm not putting a swing tackle on DeJuan. DeJuan's going to come in and compete, right? We're not conceding anything, and he's not conceding anything. I think he's had a really good spring. And I think training camp's going to be even better for him, right? And I really enjoy coaching him. I think he can be a really good player in this league. So, swing tackle, I don't know. I'm going to see if he can start for us in some capacity before I say he's a swing tackle. Right?
What do you enjoy about coaching him, I guess?
He's genuinely himself. All right, anybody that can be themselves all the time, I appreciate. He doesn't have any pretenses. You can be frank with him, and it's not an issue. He listens. He tries to do what you ask, and as a coach, that's all you want. So.
Last one.
Going back to Parker, you go from coaching Tyler in Baltimore and to Parker. Size, so much is made of it. How much of an adjustment, with the center position specifically, how important is that to the sort of the equation?
Well, I mean, I've been fortunate that I've coached bigger centers, smaller centers, right? I had a guy named Mike Grudodoria when I was at the Rams, who's probably Parker's size, maybe a little bit bigger, and Aaron Graham when I was in Arizona, who was in the same vein. So either you're going to get a bigger guy, a little stouter guy, that's going to be a more in-the-box player, or you're going to get a guy who's a space player who can hold his own at the point of attack, but gives you another element at the second and third level. Okay, that's what we had last year in Baltimore. That's what we have here with Parker and how he plays. So I think they all have advantages, right? If he's your starter, you make those adjustments and you take advantage of that. If he's your backup, then he's got to deal with what the starter has to do. So, yeah.
Thanks, George.
Yeah.
How we doing, guys? Doing great. Fire away.
Obviously, we haven't seen Harold out on the field, he drills or anything, but just can you talk about the development in the classroom and meeting room with him and where you see sort of?
I think he's done a hell of a job of staying engaged day to day. Obviously this has been a process. With phase 1, we initially introduced the system to the players, and then you repeat it in phase 2, and then obviously OTAs, you come back around and do it again, and then training camp you'll get it. But I think he's done a really good job of staying on top of the details. Been very impressed with that, because obviously that's the challenge when you're not out there repping it every day.
How much of a challenge is it for a player like him who had so much success as a rookie, like combating that sort of second year where obviously these coordinators and these defenses have more film on you? I know he's in a different system, so that might help, but in general, like that mental side of it.
Yeah, no, I think you look at his film from last year, because call a spade. A lot of the concepts that you see across the National Football League are carbon copies of one another. And there's always little fundamental details within the assignment that you can always make strides on. So you take a look at the tape from last year, and we may not call it the same thing, or we may train it a little bit different, but some of the fundamentals within that bring it to life, directly translate. So you're constantly going back and diving into those details.
Is tight end one of those positions going from college to the pros where there's just so much more in their plate when they get to that next level?
Yeah, I think that's fair, because you're obviously connected to the run game piece, the pass game piece, the protection unit. So it is a challenge, and you're obviously, as you're going through the evaluation process, that's what you're testing as you're going through it, because the volume in which they have to be able to handle, not only mentally but then fundamentally, which truly brings it to life. Bring that to the table. So it's definitely a very challenging position to come in and take advantage of early on. That's what makes Harold's year one so damn impressive, that he was able to come in and have the success that he had.
I think you sort of have to take it like guy by guy, as far as like we're just going to throw a bunch at this guy and see if we can handle it. This guy we got to maybe take a little slower.
Yeah, absolutely. And a perfect example of that is, obviously the starting point when you're in the 11 personnel world is that one tight end spot. And then when you get into the other groupings, you're talking now 2 spots. And sometimes you cross-train guys between those 2, and sometimes you just leave them in that one hole or that one spot. And initially you try to throw the whole kitchen sink at them. But, if you feel like you're overwhelming them, then obviously you got to be ready to back off and, like you're saying, take it player by player.
With Carson, he doesn't get invited to the combine. I know he transferred to BYU supposedly last season to maybe expand his pass game repertoire.
Yep.
How much have you, when you watched him on film and as you guys draft process and everything, where did you see? What were sort of the central tenets about him that you really latched onto, specifically at tight end?
Just keeping it very simple. He is a damn good football player, and sometimes as you go through the process, you guys all know how important the traits are and everything that comes with that. But what you saw from him was a good fundamental foundation. He's been very well coached, and he's a Swiss Army knife. You see him doing so many different things on tape, in addition to having the special teams value. So, obviously, the more that you can do, the more creative you can get with those kind of pieces.
I gotta ask you, this is nobody else doesn't care about this question, but
I'll care about it.
What's with all the University of Akron guys, the former University of Akron guys?
Yeah, it just happened to time up that way. It's been pretty cool. Danny Breyer and I were together at Akron. It's interesting. When I was a GA at Akron, I was transitioned. I got a quality control position at the University of Florida. And as I was on my way out, Travis Schweitzer was on his way in as a recruit. So it's been cool to come kind of full circle there. And him and I had no prior relationship prior to this job. And the collaboration, the connection, it's been awesome. Awesome.
It's good.
Good. Appreciate it, guys.
we doing?
All right. How is everybody?
Good.
Good. Great.
So we haven't had a chance to obviously talk to you since they announced Jeremiah won't be playing this season. Just obviously, how unfortunate is that? But then seeing all the stuff he's been doing off the field and still staying involved with you guys, like I guess the silver lining, if you will.
Well, love Jeremiah, everything that he is. He can do anything when he sets his mind to it, which is he's so smart, he's so talented, and he's always busy. He's up to everything. So he's doing what he's doing, getting more degrees, helping people. Proud of him.
Quincy, the energy that he brings to the field, just can you quantify that? I mean, just what he's added to that room.
I wish I could smile as big as he does to show you what it is, because that smile, it's his superpower. Superpower is his smile and his speed, and when he is who he is, it's contagious. And that was why having experience with Coach Rudy, and then adding in. That's a nice piece to not only scheme, but more importantly, the human that we're bringing in. Energy and working and having done it before and being hungry to win. He brings us all that. And it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch how our defense works together. And then, of course, he's got that speed. So if there's things running around, Quincy's got a chance to catch it. So, Quince, run and hit like you do.
I know Rudy had said he doesn't expect anyone to be a quote-unquote extension of him, but Quincy, it sounds like, expects that of himself. I guess, like, to your point about his experience with Rudy before and in this, like, sort of system before, how beneficial is that to have a guy like that out on the field?
It's good in a lot of ways. So I'm just like Rudy, that I just want every human to be the best they can be. You guys have heard that from me forever. And so that's all we want. We want everybody to be the best they can be. But what Quincy is there's certain calls and things that we're using the words that Coach Rudy and some coaches that I've worked with use. So it's good. We can translate. And then there's some words that may have been here that we wanted to keep and put together. And we won't talk too much about the scheme stuff, but it's going to be, there's always change. So then you put it together and you build the best you can. And so then there's words that maybe he hasn't heard. And the other guys, Carson and everybody. So it's nice to have that translation going back and forth. Oh, yeah, this means this. Cool, I got it. Is everybody good with that? And so that happens fast with Quincy. And Quincy's really good at, I don't know that yet. Can you help me? He's really good at telling us that. And, of course, as a coach, you're like, yes, let's go. You know, because if we know what everybody doesn't know, that's the battle to help them play fast.
Carson.
I was going to ask about Carson, too. Just year two of Carson. I mean, you know, we watch him year one. It's like, what could he possibly do better? But what could Carson do even better in year two?
We have a list. No, I smile because Carson's so smart and studies everything and wants to be really good at everything. And his superpower, of course, is running to the ball and finding the ball. So we're amplifying that with some of the scheme and how he goes. And then being able to do everything. He wants to be really good at everything, whether he's covering, rushing, fitting runs. So there's a few things in each of those categories that those are our emphasis points. And in the spring, there's a lot of things we did drill-wise to even help more there. So what's great about him is he really wants to be good at everything and just be a great teammate.
Last year, Carson and Devin really formed a nice 1-2 punch at that position. What goes into developing, you know, it almost seems like it's an innate, like second sense that sort of develops between the two guys when that happens. How much are you starting to see that connection between Quincy and Carson kind of form, you know, where they're starting to be able to maybe a little bit play off of each other?
So we had some good ones with those two working together today already. It comes from just being open and knowing that you need each other. And both of them are doing that. One of the things that Carson does really well is build relationships with each and every other player, regardless of position. And so he's done a good job of that. He was a lead at it for a rookie, and he's continuing it in this offseason. And then Quincy's so vocal and positive that it's good, you know, with them working together. But it's really the whole group, too. It's how we work with the entire defense. You know, the linebackers are, you've heard me say it, off the ball for a reason because the D-line's going to go fast and we're going to fix them and help them. And so that's really the going on at all times, both on and off the field, learning how to work together.
I know we haven't seen a lot of Mookie just because of injuries and things like about. But number one, how good is it to see him out here in this phase and being able to practice? And how much more can you guys expect from him going into this third year already here?
Yeah, and really his last year, he didn't get the whole last year. So really he's going into his second playing season. Nate has worked extremely hard. And so has Winston, so has Eddie, so has Easton. Of the guys with this offseason, all 4 of them have come back and they're more flexible, stronger, all of the above, studying. Really like all 4 guys. Nate has become really strong in his lower body and flexible. And now his job in the summer, which he heard from us today, is to get even stronger when he comes back. So we're excited about him. He's very physical and he's becoming more flexible. So excited. And with all of us need a certain number of reps to be, I've seen that before, experience, right? And we were building that a lot through our rotations in the spring. I'm excited to watch when it happens when the pads come on. So Nate's one we're definitely excited about, and we have really good competition coming into that position, and with the addition of JJ and Reed. So there's a lot going on behind the first 2 to see who can earn the next roles.
We can hear Justin Jefferson when we're out here. I mean, I guess when you have a rookie like that who's just already coming in and kind of making himself heard, like how good can it be?
But it's any first-year player, and we've done a lot, and you've heard me say it a lot with Jeremiah and other guys, right? There's a different language. And so you got to learn. He's loud, and sometimes it's the exact right thing, and sometimes it's not. But that's okay, because if you say it the first time and then you learn it, great. That's what practice is for. We'll get better. He has a really good feel of just where the ball is and how to find it. And that, of course, is the core of linebacker play. See ball, get ball, right? Run, shed, tackle the guy with the ball. That's our mantra. And Justin has a really good feel for that. So he's in the process of learning just like they are. Today, he made improvements from yesterday, so that was good. And that's how we're going to go every day, But the bottom line is, if the ball is somewhere, go get it.
We've talked so much about the change at the coordinator level, but you look at the positionally, everybody is essentially the same. The faces are the same, even if maybe the titles might be a little different. How important is that to the continuity, to maybe not making things such a crazy, the changes be so crazy going from Jim to Mike?
Well, I think it's like we talked about. Nothing's exactly the same because we have new humans working together, coaches, players, everybody. But it's that ability to translate and figure out what we want and get it communicated quickly and exactly and figure out if we want to change some of the calls or if we want to keep them. And so that's going on at every level. That's going on from coaches to players in the position rooms. That's going on from Rudy to the whole defense. That's going on from us working together, coaches upstairs before it comes to the players. And that's really that continuity and putting us together with this new staff. And you hear Rudy every time he mentions the staff. Appreciate you, Rudy, for doing that. But it's cool because that's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about all of us working together as good as we can. But what matters is that the players can get it and play fast together.
Good guys.
Thank you. Go Browns. Cool. Good to see you guys. Have a good summer.